I love flying drones, and people who follow me on Instagram and see me posting my photos and videos all the time, they ask me, Christine, should I get the Mavic Mini 1 or 2 if I want to start flying a drone? Let's dive in. If you're just getting started with drones, it is a no-brainer in my opinion that you should start with the Mavic Mini series. And the reason for this is because for the quality of the photos that you can take, the price point is very, very low. And the other reason why is this drone is so tiny. Both the Mavic Minis are small enough that you don't even need to register them with the FAA. And literally when you're holding them in your hand, it's so tiny and so approachable, and it's really not scary. There are 5 reasons why I think you should get the Mavic Mini 2 versus the Mavic Mini 1. And I'm gonna break it down for you as easily as possible because really it's not that complicated. And also, if you don't know a whole lot about drones or photography, I literally just got started also, so don't even worry about it. You can pick up on it over time. All right, let's start with the first reason. It's the quality of the camera. With the Mavic Mini 2, you can fly in 4K versus with the Mavic Mini 1, you can only fly in 2.7K. And really, it's just about resolution and being able to get that better photo and video. And that brings us to number 2. The second reason why is because you can take raw photos with the Mavic Mini 2. And if you don't know what a raw photo is, basically it gives you more information and data to work with when you're editing the photo. It's just giving you more options there. Psst. If you're getting some value out of this video, cheers that like button and consider subscribing. Add your tips or questions if you have any in the comments below. I'm here for you. And make sure you check the description because there's so many more resources and other helpful info I don't want you to miss, especially signing up for my email newsletter because I send a lot of helpful info and I don't want you to miss a thing. Let's get back to it. The next reason is digital zoom. And what this means is basically as you're taking photos and videos of something, if you're really far away from it, you can zoom in all the way up to 4x and still get a really great photo or video. And this is really important in times where maybe you don't want to fly super close to something, but you want to be able to take a close-up photo or video of it. This really helps in scenarios like that. The next reason is the controller. The controller on the Mavic Mini 2 is the same as the Air series, and it's just a significantly better controller. The Mavic Mini 1 controller is pretty clunky. It's kind of hard to stick your phone in there easily and get set up, and so the controller is another reason why you might want the Mavic Mini 2. The next reason is you can fly your drone even further with the Mavic Mini 2. And while it's the law to keep your drone in visual sight, the ability to fly further isn't necessarily for the sake of sending your drone really far, but rather staying connected with your drone. So here's an example of what it looks like on the screen when your drone loses connection with your controller. And this can happen when, there's interference around, there's a lot of buildings, or when another plane is in the area, or if you're flying your drone really far, then your controller can lose contact with the drone, and this happens less with the Mavic Mini 2. I would say in terms of top 5 stressful things that can happen when you're flying your drone, losing connection between your controller and your drone is definitely one of them. Which, by the way, did you know that there are some settings that you can use on your drone to help you fly it more safely automatically? An example would be if you want your drone to return to you with just the push of a button, but also make sure it's not hitting every single tree on the way over to you, or other tips like that, I walk you through the settings that I use to safely fly my drone and not have it land in the ocean on accident, for example. Link in the description below, and I'll see you over there after this. And maybe a bonus reason number 6 is because you have 1 more minute of flight time. These drones don't fly for very long. It might seem like 30 minutes of flight time on the Mavic Mini 1 or 31 minutes of flight time on the Mavic Mini 2 is a really long time, but that's in perfect conditions. That means there's no wind, that means there's no heat, that means there's no altitude, that means a lot of things, which is not what real life is like. And so flight times, having that long flight time is important because you want to make sure when you're on location, you can get the photos and videos you need without running out of batteries. Another thing to note is that the Mavic Mini 1 and 2 are more or less exactly the same size, but what's important there is the 249 grams, which means it's so tiny, it's considered a toy, and you don't have to, unless you want to, register it with the FAA. Let's recap where we're at. I gave you 5 plus a bonus reason why the Mavic Mini 2 is the better choice over the Mavic Mini 1. We know that they're the same size. What is the case for the Mavic Mini 1? I would say if you really care about that price point on the Mavic Mini 1 versus the 2, you can save a couple bucks by getting the Mavic Mini 1, but why not get all of those other features and benefits? The other way that I think about it is, isn't that more or less just 5 burritos with guacamole? I already know the next 2 questions you're gonna ask me. You're gonna ask me, Christine, what about the Fly More combo? The short answer is yes. And the reason for that is the main item you need within that is the spare batteries. Having spare batteries to be able to be on location, get all the shots that you need without stressing about not having enough flight time is the key reason why I recommend the Fly More combo. The second question I know you're gonna ask me, what about the Mavic Air 2 or the Mavic Air 2S? The short story of that, if you are ready to jump into a more advanced, not super advanced, it's still super easy, it's not complicated, drone, and you care about very good photos and videos, and having your drone do more, like really using the capabilities of your drone, you might consider the Mavic Air 2 and specifically the Mavic Air 2S. People are always asking me if they should get the more advanced drone, if they should level up and start with the Air 2S. And here's one way that I think about it. And this is a good example, especially if you use an iPhone to take your photos and videos. Are you using it just in the regular way to take a photo and video, or do you use more of the features and functionalities? For example, do you use the time-lapse on the iPhone? Or do you use the portrait mode, but you use the different kinds of portrait mode? Did you know that there's more than just one? If you tend to use things on a more advanced level, then yeah, you probably are going to want the more advanced drone. But if you don't and you just want to get the photo and video, you're fine with the Mini. So if you still want more and you want to learn more about the Mavic Air 2S, join me in my next video. I'm going to talk to you about some questions you should ask yourself so you can make a more informed and smarter decision. Because I want everybody to get into drones. It's so fun and it's so easy. I'm Christine. I'm here for you with new videos every week. Check the description below. I have tons of helpful info that I don't want you to miss. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.